Space Spuds, Chapter 6, Fried in France. The Earth was saved, but the story wasn't over. Leppy, Leo, and Rookie walked a few steps away from the Sheik's tent. Leppy raised his hand and said, "Okay, jump when I drop my arm and quickly yell, 'Spuds forever!' 4 times. And they did it. Rookie jumped the highest so he could add something else. He wanted to say, and he did say, "And yippee, I get to play baseball again when I get home." But when his feet hit the ground, he was still next to the tent, but alone. He knew instantly he'd been a doofus. He jumped again, yelled, "Spuds forever!" 4 times, and the next moment he was standing next to Leo and mashed potatoes up to his ankles. "Whew," Leo said. "We thought we'd lost you." "Oh, just was a temporary malfunction, I guess," Leo said calmly, trying to not look like a doofus, too. Leppy said, "Hop in, guys," and he cheerfully opened the door to the speeder. All 3 sat in front of a control panel. Leppy checked his engine, and he checked the butter and salt levels, pulled back on the masher stick, and they zoomed into darkness with the sounds of potatoes being mashed coming from all sides. When Leppy asked, Leo spoke his house's address into a microphone, and they materialized in France. Mom did a triple take when she came out the door to investigate the sound of a portal being opened in front of the house. "Well, welcome home, boys. Who's your new friend?" Shortly after the trio had cleaned up from their journey, Pops came home from work. He was happy to meet Leppy, invited him to a restaurant for steak frites, and they headed out. Leppy ate only the French fries, but he grimaced at every bite. Although Leppy was no longer angry, his demeanor was still rough, and he seemed nervous at having no boiled potatoes to eat. Mom was worried for him, and that evening she gave him some lessons about earthling manners and how to stay calm, and she taught him yoga. Next morning, Pops took him to see the radar telescope and asked him about the 2 huge potatoes that were still circling over France. Leppy said, "I don't know what we should do with them. I also still have a couple of engineers up in the spaceship. Do you have any suggestions?" Pop said, "I do have a couple of ideas on how they could be used to help Earth. Would you be okay if I pursue them?" Leppy said, "Why, sure." Pops phoned the Sheik and asked him if he would guide one of the giant potatoes to land in a war zone and feed the refugees from the war. As he expected, the Sheik agreed enthusiastically. Next, Pops telephoned the President of France, and he asked him, "Mr. President, I know you're always interested in advancing technology through science. I'm with a gentleman from a faraway planet who is willing to share his space technology. He has 2 engineers and a spaceship that can travel between galaxies. Are you interested?" The president said, "Am I interested? Bien sûr, of course I am." Then Pop said, "And a second thing our new friend offers is aid in producing more and better food. He's willing to give you the last of the giant potatoes that were threatening all of France, and he'd help you grow potatoes that are far bigger. Are you interested in that too?" The president said, "Wow, this could draw all mankind's attention to the importance of science and help feed the world's hungry. But I understood there were 2 huge potatoes orbiting over us. What will become of the second?" When Pops told the president how the Sheik had safely punctured the potato in Dubai and how he would feed the people in the war zone, the president interrupted, and he asked, "Hey, could you ask the Sheik to place the last giant potato on top of the Eiffel Tower? That would get the world's attention, and everybody would be looking to make things better through science." This is Chapter 7, the last chapter in Space Spuds. Its title is An Irish Surprise. Pops hung up after receiving the President of France's lavish thanks, and Leppy suggested that they go have some pommes frites for lunch. When they returned home, he announced he was starting to like French fries, but he would like to visit Ireland to compare them to boiled potatoes. Everyone was in favor, and Mom said, "Before you go, boys, tell me what you've learned from your adventure." Rookie said, "At first I couldn't believe Pops would ask me to do something so big and important. I was scared because I had no idea what to do. But we just took some chances and everything worked out. I guess I learned you can do the impossible with some help." "And you, Leo?" Mom asked. "Well, when we entered the sheik's tent, Leppy was our enemy, but now he's our friend. The sheik taught me listening and goodwill gestures help you start to like and trust other people." The three took the speeder to Ireland and popped up through a portal on Stephen's farm, just as a large group of townspeople and farmers were coming together and joking around. Those nearby, when the portal opened, they were astonished and couldn't stop blinking their eyes and staring with their mouths open. Stephen had organized a potato eating competition, and barrels of steaming potatoes were being brought to a table behind the barn. When they were placed into 10 dishes as big as bathtubs almost and brought to the table, Leppy and Stephen joined 6 big guys and 2 women at the table. A bell rang, and all started wolfing down the Spuds. When the bell rang 5 minutes later, the winner was clear. Leppy had eaten more potatoes than all the others combined. After congratulating Leppy, the crowd dispersed, and Stephen said to Leppy, "The boys and others call you Leppy. I guess it's because your ears are a bit pointed, but is that your real name?" "No, I'm Bob." "Well, that name fits better if you ask me. Is it short for Robert, like the Irish patriot Robert Emmet?" "It is short for Robert, but I have to admit I never heard of the Emmet guy." Said Stephen. "You come from a faraway galaxy, but you seem so very much like an Irishman to me. I know you lived on Earth, but departed after the dinosaurs died. Did you by chance leave some descendants behind? Some people just got left by accident? Could some have stayed on Earth, and we Irishmen are descended from them? And you, Bob, could you be the original Irishman?" Leppy, I should say, Bob. He looked bewildered and raised his palms above his shoulders. "Well, I don't know. Let me give that a think." Then he hooked arms with Stephen, waved to the boys, and Stephen and Leppy headed toward Navan. Rookie called out, "Hey, where are you going?" "Why, to the pub, of course." "Leppy," said Rookie, "would you mind if Leo and I took the speeder out for a ride?" And what he got back was a smile, a wink, and a nod. So that's the end of the story. Before you go, you should know that Sheikh Qaboos bin Saad al-Saad is a real person. He's a fighter pilot and the Sultan of Oman. Even before they learned how he saved the world from space spuds, his people considered him a hero. And that is the end of Space Buds.